If you like our videos, consider checking out our Patreon.
Hey everybody, Gunner Bird here. It's Tuesday again, so that means...
No storage place.
Talk. That's jive talk for marijuana.
Nudity on slick paper.
It means it's time to spin the fucking wheel. So let's see what fucking happens.
Sounds broken.
That's how it always sounds.
Did it land on $50,000? No.
X-ray of a marriage.
Oh, cool. What we gotta do is look at our relative.
I am curious about that one. It sounds familiar. I think somebody at one point might have suggested this to us. I don't know who, so...
Well,
anyway...
it better have titties in it, that's all
I doubt it. How often do Tuesday shows have fucking titties in? Not
Probably
fucking often.
Not really.
So anyway, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
So we got done watching that, and I cannot tell you any more about what the fuck that was than I could before we even fucking watched it.
Not really.
Cause it starts with this generic hair metal type stuff playing over top of some generic ass credits. Oh yeah, this is part 1. Cause this is split into 3 different fucking parts. And then this old man in a military uniform comes into his house, talking to his wife.
Yeah, and you're like, okay.
And they go in the kitchen, and they're talking.
Normal, you know.
Do you want something to drink?
I don't believe I care for anything. Thank you, Margaret. I had something on the plane and spilled it all over my uniform. I'm all rumpled and everything.
And then he starts talking about how...
Damn, he's been in the military long. They just released him. He's in 90,000 tours.
But he's also talking about how he fucked another woman during the Iraq War.
During the Iraqi War, I fell in love with another woman. I know you know about it because I told Sean. And Sean told Susan, and I know Susan told you.
Yes, I know about your infidelity in Iraq.
Yeah. And dude, I love how he talks about it. He's like, yeah.
With no care for his wife whatsoever. He's like, I loved this woman way more than I loved you.
I fell in love with this woman. I gave her anal.
Dude, his emotion scenes are fucking amazing in this.
I love it.
She held it so tight.
He talks about how they met. She was like a reporter and all this kind of stuff, and he didn't really like her, blah, blah, fucking blah.
Yeah.
I met her on the road to Baghdad. She was a war correspondent, and it was my job in the reserves to make sure that all war correspondents were kept away from the front lines for their own safety and protection. That was during the push to Baghdad. Well, she was my worst problem. I didn't like her at first. I thought she was raw, crude, offensive. She would say anything in the world that came to her mind. The complete stream of conscience.
And then he went to this restaurant, and there she was. And we actually get to see her in flashback as he's lovingly talking about this woman to his wife.
Well, I was sitting there having a great time when all of a sudden I looked across the room and there she was, staring at me. Then she smiled. I'd never seen her smile. I've never seen the soft, feminine side of her. When she motioned for me to come over to her table, I got up and went.
Hello, soldier boy.
Go tell it to the Marines, baby.
Would you like a drink?
Well, if you want me to. Would you want me to sit down?
Sure.
You're sure?
Please be my guest.
Well, you were my biggest problem keeping off the, on the march to Baghdad.
I
Are
won't
you
be
going to be a
problem
problem
to you.
here?
No.
You're sure? Well, let's try that. I'm going to do it. go tell it to the Marines, baby. That.
And, you know, she's combing her hair, caressing her hair, whatever. He's over there like, you know. He's like, and then I started to see her as this fucking sexy beast that I just couldn't
But
put
yeah,
away.
his ass is still fucking talking, and his
Yeah.
wife ain't saying fucking shit.
Yeah.
She's just like,
Her fucking eyes were like caked down with mascara so much that she could hardly open them. Give her credit for just sitting there,
Yeah.
you know, and not taking a plate to the back of his head while he was doing it.
well, he's still blah, 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 and she says she'll stay.
Never really saying sorry. He just kept going on about
No.
how fucking wonderful it was.
But she does finally say that she'll stay as long as he wants her to.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were first going together? The weekend I flew from New York to Texas to meet your family? We were so much in love then, Margaret. We were so happy then. Can't we be like that again, Margaret? Can't we be like that again, please?
I'm here as long as you want me to be.
Well, that is something. And for that I thank you.
And then part one ends.
And then, yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You know, because all we saw was just some old dude coming home and going, yeah, fuck them. All of them.
Trying to make his wife feel horrible.
Really?
I know. He wasn't sorry. But anyway, this isn't all of it. We're going on to part 2.
Yeah. He was just like, yeah, I did it.
And then we could do about it, Marfa. It opens up in their bedroom, and they're sitting there still talking.
I thought this was just going to be a strong friendship. But as the relationship progressed, I could see that it was going to turn physical.
And he's like, you know, and at one parts, he's like, you know, I want to get past this, but them titties. And goes back into fucking flashback.
But he's now talking about how their relationship turned physical.
Physical! It got physical!
In the ruin of a bombed out fucking house.
One evening, I was taking her home in my Jeep, and she wanted to stop beside the ruins of this old building in Baghdad. We got out of the Jeep and went into the ruin. The roof was off, and the stars were out. The stars were out. And it was right there, in the hush of night, that our relationship grew physical.
A bombed out house. So they went in there and they played Rough House. So imagine that. This old guy ripping at her clothes as good as he can because he's frail. He's like, "Arr."
But he is in super love.
Shortly afterwards, I realized that I was hopelessly, helplessly, absolutely in love.
I'll get you something to drink.
Oh yeah, he was like, I love her so much. You know.
And then he talks about his novel that he's writing. She touched my pee-pee.
One point only I have not been honest with you about, and that is the subject matter of my novel. I do want to write a novel about my affair in Iraq, and I want Betty to be the leading female character.
And daydreaming of her, and I think he comes.
When she brushed her hair, she was breathtakingly beautiful.
He's like,
Yeah, he's like, oh. When the moon.
and then he talks about how it was a deep, deep, deep love.
This was not your casual wartime affair. This was a deep, deep love that went deep, deep inside my psyche. Deep, deep inside my bone marrow.
The deepest
I
love.
was waiting for this fucker to start swooning. And
then he talks about how she died by suicide bomber.
When the suicide bombing began in Baghdad, Betty and I would go to a hotel on weekends. We would go to the hotel designated for the American and the international press. You're my inspiration. You're my life. And it really doesn't bother you that I'm 28 years older than you are. Well, one day, one afternoon, Betty was out on the job, and I was trying to get some sleep in the hotel room when this terrible explosion rocked the hotel. I jumped out of bed and ran downstairs as fast as I could. A suicide bomber had driven his car into the front wall of the hotel, and it shattered the lobby. Betty had been walking from the front door of the lobby to the stairs when the explosion occurred.
Yeah, she went kaploot because he was up in the hotel, then she went down there and all of a sudden,
yeah.
And it rocked the hotel.
He ran downstairs and held her hand until she died.
Right, but the way he said that was great.
Throughout the night, at the hospital, I held her hand until she died. And when she died, it was as if she just got up and walked away. And I was left holding the external physical remains of this beautiful girl whom I loved so very much.
But yeah, but the whole time the wife's just like, yeah, so bitch died, huh?
Well, she actually does say some stuff about healing and stuff now.
I waited so long for you to come home. I worked hard trying to prepare a place for you to come home to recuperate from your ordeal in Iraq. And then I come home to this. You know, as a psychologist, I've helped many people to rebuild a new life. But I don't even know how to help you or me. We both have so much healing to do. God knows it's gonna take a long, long time.
And then she tells him that they're gonna be in a wedding.
Right.
Sean and Susan want us to be in their daughter's wedding tomorrow afternoon. And we'll have to go to the reception in the garden. And it's a formal thing, so you'll have to wear your tuxedo and I'll be wearing my evening gown.
I didn't bring my tuxedo with me, but I think this military uniform will suffice for all occasions. Margaret, if I go to the wedding with you, could that be the first step at reconciliation, at getting back to normal?
Well, I've always been to the dress rehearsal, and it's just a matter of them walking down the aisle.
I'll go, Margaret. I'll go.
Oh, after all this, fucking awkward shit. We're gonna be at a wedding. You put on your fucking best dresses, I'll put on my shit, we'll just pretend like nothing happened.
End of part 2.
Because basically, wasn't that his thing? He was like, well, let's just put this past us and pretend like this shit never happened.
And then part 3 opens up with them talking still, and he's talking about this reoccurring dream he had.
Shortly after Betty's death, I began to have this reoccurring dream.
Where he sees this alien, which is basically just a person with a stocking on their fucking face. And then he sees their UFO, and Betty's on the UFO, beckoning him to come.
He's like, I can't see it, but anyway.
Yeah,
but like
he says it.
The aliens are playing a practical joke. They keep coming down and then going.
Well, he's trying to go through, but he's stuck by green screen force field.
Yeah, he can't get through. But this is fucking great.
His scream.
I was left on this huge, huge earth. All alone.
As he watches it go over.
Amazing.
I fucking love that shit. That was.
And then it cuts back to them in the bedroom or wherever the fuck they're at. And he's still talking about this alien, but he's saying the alien would turn around. It was Margaret.
And when the alien would turn around, do you know who it was, Margaret? It was you. It was you, Margaret. You were that alien.
Margaret. The whole time. Margaret. You know, and I thought for a second, man, he was going to put her head in the fucking trash compactor thing, you know.
Or something, but no, it just cuts to him outside, walking around outside, and telling us...
Talking to the trees.
Telling us, or the trees, how he doesn't love Margaret anymore.
I find that I don't love Margaret anymore. I'm not in love with her. I don't care. What I really care about is being left alone. I have this terrible fear of being left alone.
He's like, Tree, I fucking hate that bitch. Tree was like, do something.
And so she comes out and asks him if he's ready.
Getting late. Are you ready to go?
I've been ready for some time. I always am. You know that, honey.
Of course, that's the conversations I have, Trees. They answer me.
And then she forgot her compact, so she says she's going to go inside.
Oh, I forgot my compact. Let me go back into the house. It won't take very long.
And then he suggests going inside
together
with her.
And that was code.
To get the compact.
That's fucking code.
I want to go into the house with you. And I want us both to look for that compact together.
Betty threw some code at her. He was like, let's go get the compact together. Wink,
and then
wink.
she's like, I'm not ready for that.
Wink, nudge, nudge, you know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, it's much too soon. I'm not ready.
And she was like, no, don't want your cock, not forever.
And then it cuts to credits.
The end.
The fucking end.
So
what the flying fuck
basically
was
what
this?
What happened was he got pretty much halfway to the steps and went, kabloot. And she went to the wedding and told him, I don't know where he is.
What the flying fuck was this?
I have no idea.
I wish I could remember who suggested this to us so I could ask them, what the fuck was this?
I'm sure they probably don't know either.
But anyway, yeah, dude, the Will gave us an interesting one today.
Thank you, Will.
But yeah, I guess I don't have anything else really much to say about this.
Not really. Just,
what the flying fuck?
What the flying fuck?
On that note, for Gunner Bird, we'll see you later.
I don't know what to do. I really don't. I just don't know what to do. I tried and I tried. You know, I thought about this for almost 2 years in Texas, teaching at the military school, and I don't know what to do. I don't. As the weeks flew by, we began to see Baghdad together. We went south one day in a jeep. I wanted to show her the ruins of the ancient ruins where man had civilized himself 5,000 years ago. Only we didn't behave in a very civilized manner. As conditions worsened in Baghdad, we had to be very careful, very cautious about where we went. But we still managed to have grand times together. When my tenure in Iraq was up, as you know, I came back to the States and accepted accepted the teaching position at the military school in Texas, teaching military history. Margaret, I begged you to come. I begged you to join me, but you said you had your work here and couldn't come. I needed you so badly,